My name is Lenora Tsosie. I'm of the Navajo tribe. I live in the Four Corners area from Table Mesa. I have 3 children. 2 of them are girls who have done the traditional puberty ceremonies when they reach womanhood. So that's part of the cultural history that I'll be sharing with you. When I was growing up, a young girl helped my grandparents in the Arizona mountains along the foothills of the Carrizos, helping planting corn. They call it a wedding basket, but it's typically used for a number of things. What we've used this for and why it's significant in my household is that when my daughters did the corn grinding with the 2 mano and matates, the grinding stone, in our culture, it's called sedashje. And so once they grinded their corn, then they used this to collect. So the girls would be on the ground with their knees folded and working to grind the corn to a not such a very fine powder, but enough to make a paste out of. And so as they're grinding, they'd use this brush to brush the corn from the stone into this basket and collect. So in preparing the cornmeal, that they'd brush the corn into the basket, and then there'd be a separate container where they'd dump the corn, and when they've reached the capacity and the size of their earthen oven dugout, it's typically 6 to 8 inches in depth and then anywhere from 2 to 3 foot wide. And they'd line that with the corn husks with the coal embers at the bottom, line that with wet, moistened corn husks all the way around. So that's the brush for the powder part. So once they begin mixing the liquids, the water, the honey, the wheat germ into the batter, they'd use this to mix. So the girls are required to work fast so their product doesn't get lumpy, and so this is what they'd use. This is pretty much their whisk to mix their batter with, and they'd mix them in portions and continue to dump the batter into the earthen oven. Again, it'll be covered up with corn husks and layered with gunny sacks, and then some people use quilts to cover, and then they cover it up with dirt and they have it cooking all night. So they have a small mound of logs on top of that, for the night while the ceremony is going on, usually in a hogan like this, and the young girl would be sitting to the left of the medicine man and the parents there helping with whatever we need to have done. So it's typically an all-night ritual, and then early morning before the break of dawn, the medicine man would end his singing, and then the young lady would exit and run to the east for whatever her stamina can handle, because that's part of the training is the your wind, your breathing, your stamina, and so that's what they're required to do. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but that's predominantly what these items are used for. Typically it's a woven rug. They're thin like this one here, but this is a Pendleton shawl, and so what they're required to do is sit with both knees folded, and the tools typically at their right hand, because the teaching is such that their right hands are the most dominant and stronger, and their left is the weak and is used for other things that don't require much physical exertion. So what they're taught or told is before they come into the hogan, the mother instructs the grandmother or the aunts, whoever are there, instruct the girl on how she must pose herself and sit throughout this whole ordeal. This is how you're required to act and conduct. So as they set up the grinding stone for her, everybody takes their turn. They set the corn down, and then she's grinding the corn. So as she's done with it, she sweeps the corn into the holding basket, and then someone empties it into the container. So these are her tools at hand, and so her motion, her action is all monitored. The women observe what she's doing, and they tell her, learn how to, gauge your activities. And so at the end of the ceremony, typically she's given material goods, wares. She's given Pendleton blankets, she's given jewelry, bracelets, necklaces, rings, and so that's part of their preparation of her womanhood. From the beginning, they do a stretching ritual where they one person is set aside to shape her, mold her is what they call it. They mold her head, her feet, her arms. And so during that time when they're doing the molding, the massaging of the young lady, the people around her bring our material goods, our purses, our wallets, our wool carding materials, our weaving tools. We'd lay it all under her blanket because we want those blessed by her spirit, the goodness that's going into her is expanding. It's being captured by everybody else's wares, because it's significant of passing along the goodness, sharing the wealth, so that's how it's perceived. Because I want her to understand that there's a change in her life from childhood to womanhood, and I wanted that significance to resonate with her and be prepared to continue in the world. So that's what we did.